It's been 2.5 years since I filmed the series on repairing a Mercedes 722.6 transmission. And and over that time, a lot of people have emailed me or private messaged me and said, "Hey Kent, how did it work out? Is it still working okay? Have you had any problems with the wagon?" Well, I'm standing right here beside the same E320 wagon that I acquired 2.5 years ago. And I tell you, the transmission is still working great. We've put about 20,000 miles on the car, and it still shifts beautifully. This is one of the nicest driving, nicest handling W210s I've had. And I just replaced the front shocks on this wagon. Now it really handles nice. So a lot of you are thinking, well, what about all the details to doing this, and how did you do it, and where do you get the parts? I get a lot of different questions like this. So what I've decided to do is I've put together a kit. It's going to include, the filter and the gasket for the pan, the electrical plug and the conductor plate, all as a kit. And then I will include free of charge a video. It'll be a step-by-step video where I'll just take you through the process, literally getting the car up on the lift, pulling the pan off, pulling that plug out, pulling the conductor plate down, going through it, looking it over, inspecting it, cleaning everything up, and then making sure you get it all back up into the transmission. And you can imagine just how happy I was when I got this all back together and it worked. And then of course, 2.5 years later, I'm really happy, considering what I had to pay for the car. The original owner had been told that it would be between $6,000 and $7,000 to repair this transmission. In some ways, I've got to defend the shops that might say a new transmission. I know the problem. I've had this happen to me. You think you can help somebody out by saving a little money, and you tell them, well, let's just replace the conductor plate. And then they do that, and you give them, $800, $1,000 or whatever it is, and then the transmission goes out in another 3 months. And you're back at the shop or at the dealer saying, hey, you were supposed to fix this. Now give me my money back. Well, so you have to understand that side of the equation also. If you're a shop or you're a dealer, you want to make sure that you fix the car right and the car goes out the door and the customer doesn't come back. Okay? Maybe you've been on one side or the other and you certainly know what I'm talking about. But if you do the work yourself and you're willing to take the risk, maybe 6, 7, 8 out of 10 times that conductor plate will fix the problem, and there's some other times that it will not. So don't think that, oh, I've got a problem with my 722.6 transmission, I'm just going to get Kent's video and put this new parts in and everything's going to be hunky-dory. Well, there's no guarantee, okay? But when you consider the cost of the parts and you consider the fact that you're going to do the labor yourself, I think it's worth a risk. It's certainly worth a risk when you consider what it's going to cost to buy a replacement transmission for one of these cars. Here's the culprit right here. It's called the conductor plate for the 722.6 5-speed automatic transmission. You might be thinking, well, if it's called a conductor plate, that means it's supposed to be conducting something, right? Yes, it's conducting electricity. You have an electronic transmission if you have one of these. And there's lots of contacts in here. There are 5 solenoids that go in here that control the various shifting of the transmission. And right here you have this electrical plug which gets all the feed for all the electrical inputs into the conductor plate. So if you're having a shifting problem, in all likelihood it could be something related to the electrical plug, poor contacts in the plug, some sort of a problem with a solenoid or a speed sensor, or some contact issue on this plate right here. I have a complete video manual in 3 parts that's available on my website that comes when you buy this kit from us. And it's not a beginner DIY job, but it's not an advanced one either. If you follow the instructions carefully, you take a lot of care to not introduce any dirt. You replace the parts with the correct parts. And you just take your time, and you may be surprised. You may just save yourself $3,000 or $4,000. And you're going to be really happy. You can't believe some of the emails I've received from people who have done this and said, Kent, wow, it worked. But I want to make it very clear in this video, there's no guarantee that this is going to fix your problem. I do know that if the transmission is in limpo mode, in other words, it's locked up and won't go out of second gear. You go down the road, it shifts kind of abruptly from first to second, and then it won't shift at all again. I would say it's a very high likelihood that replacement of the conductor plate and the electrical plug is going to fix it. you're going to have to make the decision, take the risk, because there is a risk involved, and we try to make it so you can do it yourself, and if it doesn't fix it, well, you're not going to be out $1,000 or $1,500 or whatever, okay? Now, I'm sure the other question we get all the time is, well, does my car have one of these transmissions? Okay, right off, this is the 722.6 5-speed automatic. If you don't have a 5-speed automatic with an electric shifter, you don't have this transmission. The transmission was produced in the US cars from 1996 to 2006, but not all cars from 96 to 2006 have this transmission. I do know that almost all Mercedes that were made, almost all, from about 1998 to 2002 had the 722.6. But you get up into the 2003 to 2006, there are models that didn't have it. You get into the 96 and 97 cars. You know, some of those cars didn't have the 7226. But you talk about chassis, you're talking about the R129, the W140, the W210, the W208, the W209, the M-Class, the CLKs. All of these had or may have, I'm going to put may have, the 7226 transmission. So I'm going to recommend, if you're in one of those years, you can Google it, put in your year and model and put in type of transmission. If you want to know for sure, I'm going to recommend you call your local dealer and give them your VIN number. They'll tell you exactly what transmission is in your car. So you want to make sure that you have the right transmission, and then you want to make sure that you have symptoms, okay, that would warrant replacement of these parts I'm showing you right here on the bench. Don't be tempted to buy some of these cheap replacements. There's a lot of these out there on the market. I think the demand is high enough that you see quite a few knockoffs coming out of China, and you want to make sure you get the OE genuine part. You'll get the full 3-part video series at no extra charge with the purchase of this kit as you see here. So don't be afraid to give this a shot. You may be surprised, and you may be one of those people out there that says, wow, I just saved $4,000. And then, of course, you can always go right to my website. I'll put links below in the description of this video that'll take you right to more information about this kit at Mercedessource.com.